For the love of God and everything that is sweet and pure, let's stop this false narrative about the feds dropping charges against P. Diddy. That is not the case. Unfortunately, people who don't really understand the law and the technicality and the procedures of it all, once they got a hint of something, just ran with it. And I'm saying this in the most humblest of ways. You know, that's why you have to look at things objectively. You can put your opinions on there, but when we're talking about law, you got to understand how the law works. So at this point, they are setting up the instructions for the jury in order to tell the jury what they have to look at according to the law. Now, when P. Diddy was originally indicted on these charges, a lot of charges were using the term in theory of attempted arson, attempted kidnapping, attempted coercion, attempted, basically a lot of theories, right? Now that we're in the case, now that we have heard the case, we have heard the witnesses, and we're trying to get the jury to understand over these courses of weeks of information that have been dumped on them, right? You're trying to narrow it so that way it is no misunderstanding of what it is that you need to be looking at when you're talking about RICO. Let's not forget, the charge here for him is RICO. That's it, RICO. And we already established what RICO is. And if you don't remember what RICO is, I literally have a video explaining to you what RICO is. And I might even insert it inside this video so that you can see for yourself what RICO is. Remember, they only need 2 crimes that were committed in an organized fashion up under an organized organization, whether it is a legal organization or an illegal organization that expanded for over 10 years. So a lot of people are hearing, because they are taking the word attempted or attempted kidnapping, attempted arson, attempted coercion, attempted this, attempted that. They're associating it with particular witnesses' statements and saying, "Oh, what is it? What are you doing? You basically been lying to us the whole time and just making us feel like you got a case and you really don't." Actually, they have a case and they still have a very strong one. But what they're trying to do is eliminate the theory that was presented and just stick with the facts, y'all. Unfortunately, a lot of people can't separate feelings from facts or just laws, right? And this is something that's going to be a challenge for the prosecution to kind of gear in with the jury to make them focus on the law and the law only. So they're also associating, the fact that the defense didn't absolutely say anything or bring any witnesses. That means that they already know that the prosecution really didn't have a case. Actually, that does not mean that at all. They're simply taking an extreme risk that might just backfire on them by not really bringing forth witnesses to help him or say what. But what they're standing on is not the burden of proof on the defendant, it's the burden of proof on the prosecution. So they don't have to call witnesses, although they could have said that up front. But if they did say that up front, then the prosecution may not have did or exposed everything that they had on him the way that they did. So basically, it's a tactic that the defense used when in cases such as these that allows the prosecution to show all their cards, and then they can make a conscious decision whether or not they want to do anything, whether or not they feel is going to further damage their client or kind of help their client. Now, this is a big risk that they're taking by not having absolutely nothing on their end and closing out with just simple text messages and a statement similar to what I'm sure their closing statement is going to be. That is a big risk for their client. So there's a lot of stuff going on talking about how P. Diddy must have made a deal or whatever. And then you got people that was on the side of the feds are starting to flip over for Diddy. It's almost like, I don't feel bad. I don't think he did it. Now, that means you never felt like he did it. If you was waiting for this, which is just simply procedures in order to make it all stick, you never did believe it. And you're just trying to go with whatever the majority rules. Y'all understand the law and how it works. It's not as cut and dry as a lot of people think it is. Certain things have to happen. But let's remember, if in fact the prosecution did not really have a trial in order to stand on, and they didn't really have a case to be presented before anybody, like real significant charges, then all those times they tried to mistrial would have worked. Oh, and on top of that, the acquittal that they're trying now would work. And it's not, because they have proven that he has committed these crimes. They're just basically, simply, in the simplest terms that I can put it in, has removed the words attempted from the indictment to now the potential sentencing that they're seeking. It's no longer a theory. It's a fact. So, as always, I just wanted to bring this to my viewers' attention so that way they can be fully aware on what's going on and not falling for the hype and the narrative that is going around on this platform. So when you hear people tell you that the feds are dropping the charges, they don't have a case, don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just cleaning it up to make it easy for jury instructions, because jury is going to be given instructions as of tomorrow so they can go in and deliberate on the case. Now, it might not take that long for them to come back with an answer. Now, that is yet to be determined. What I have always said, this case is going to boil down to the closing arguments between the attorneys. Who can convince the jury of what? As always, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Y'all stay in contact with me, okay? As always, be your brothers and your sisters keeper. Don't forget to check out some of that merch on my store, okay? It's on every video in the description. Be your brothers and sisters keeper. Keep God first. And toodles.